Hello everyone, it's Grim. Anyways, I've been talking about doing this for a little while, writing a tutorial and going over the basics of how to build a proper vehicle in Crossout. I say proper. They're all proper vehicles, right? But this is more about maximizing the effectiveness of your parts and getting the most bang for your buck. I've been doing teardowns for people and I run into the same issues. There's a lack of knowledge in exactly what parts do. So I want to go through all of the parts very quickly in this video and just bring awareness to what should be used and where. Over the course of the tutorial, I do want to build a lower tier vehicle. Just do so using all of the best practices that I've learned so far while playing Crossout. And when it comes to building, it all starts in one place: the cab. This is the heart of your vehicle. This is your hit points. This decides how fast your vehicle is going to go, how big it can get, and how many guns you can put on it. And, it also affects your survivability, how durable your vehicle is. And we'll go over the actual details and numbers later. I just want to start getting these parts out. The frames is kind of an introduction. They're what holds your vehicle together. Your wheels have to be connected to a frame. Your cab has to be connected to a frame. You really can't build a vehicle without one. Not one that can play in Crossout. Everything else doesn't necessarily need to be connected to the frame. But there are certain ways that we can use the frame more effectively concerning other parts. Examples being, things that are connected to a frame are far less likely to get blown off when the frame goes than they are if they're connected to an armor part. Armor parts are not as durable. And we'll go over that as we do the build. Wheels, legs, and hovers, the things that make you go. They come in all different shapes and sizes. They have all sorts of different weight capacities. They all do pretty much the same thing. You have your steering wheels and you have your standard wheels. One just goes in a straight line and holds your vehicle up, and the other one turns it. Hovers and tracks, tracks as well. I don't have any tracks, so I can't show you those, but they're very similar to wheels. Hovers and legs is what I meant to say. Work differently. They're omnidirectional, so they're all steering, and they allow you to strafe side to side, whereas wheels are only a forward, backward, and turning. Go into those in more detail later. Armor parts. These are the parts, and I put one out of each faction, that add hit points to your vehicle. You want to wrap your entire vehicle in a lovely blanket of armor. Without it, you're just not going to stay very long on the battlefield, and you're never going to get out of the lower tiers, unless there are exceptions. Homing missile builds can probably get away without armor, but you have to be careful about how you go about it. Here we have the gun mounts, and this is one of the things that a lot of people miss. You will see a lot of weapons directly attached to these armor parts, which, while it works, doesn't work very well. What these do, they all have something in common. Various makeshift pipe structures can be shot through, which means that they don't take bullet damage right away. They don't get shot off as easy. They don't protect your vehicle, but if you have something fused to them, it's going to stand much longer, much better. So these are definitely the things to be putting your guns on. Then we have what I like to call hard armor. It's actually the ramming implements. What these do is they kind of act as an outer protection for your vehicle. You do not gain any structure bonus. There's no extra hit points that you get like you do with the armor pieces over here. But they have a damage resistance to ramming and gunfire, as well as they cause you to do increased damage to other vehicles when either you ram them or they ram you. And they don't just need to be on the front of your vehicle. If you put them on the sides of your vehicle, that'll prevent people from T-boning you. These two here are more weapons. You can stick them out the side of your vehicle, and I'll grab tires with them. They're just good fun, and something to go over in more detail when we're doing the build. I didn't lay out the guns or the modules because I don't have enough power points in order to do so, so I'm just going to kind of go over them from here, bring them out as needed. There are two, as far as the guns go, there are two types of machine guns. You have the direct fire, that you just pull the trigger and they shoot. Ba, 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 ba. And then you have the miniguns. These take a little bit of charging up, but they have a lot longer time before they're a lot longer period of time before they overheat, and I consider them to be a bit more accurate. The accuracy disperses a heck of a lot faster with the vectors and the direct fire machine guns than they do with the equalizers. But you don't really have to worry about those early on. That's a purple part, and you won't get there for a bit. Moving on, we have the shotguns. These are close range, and they counter everything. But if you're outside of that range, there's not much you can do for a person. They're smaller than your machine guns, they're more durable than your machine guns, and they're more powerful than your machine guns. But the limitation on range, it's why a lot of people don't like using them. I love shotguns. Shotguns make me happy. But, moving on. Autocannons. This is the rapier. There's only two autocannons in the game, the blue one and the purple one, the whirlwind. The whirlwind is huge. I sold mine recently because I just needed the coins and it was holding me back. These weapons, they're slower firing. They do not have an ammo capacity, so you can fire infinitely. And, you know, allowing for cooldown and overheating, but the bullet takes time to travel through the air, so you have to lead your targets. They are considered long range because I do believe they don't actually lose damage as the bullet travels. As, you know, with machine guns, the further away the target is, the less damage your bullet is going to do. This doesn't have that problem. But they swivel slower, so if you get up close, it's very easy to get outside of, to outrun the rotation of the turret, which is why they end up being more of a long-range weapon. Moving on from there, we have cannons. Cannons come in two types, really. The little boy, or the stationary, and the rotating. Let's cover the stationary first. It shoots forward. It has a lot of firepower, and it has an ammo capacity. The basic Avenger, which I think I have. No, I used to have a Judge. I got rid of it for the reason being I don't personally like cannons. These are your alpha damage weapons. They do a lot of damage with each particular shell. They're harder to use, and even the cannons with rotating turrets, they rotate very slowly, so not good in close combat. These are definitely a longer range weapon. Again, the bullet travels through the air slowly like the autocannons, so you have to lead your targets and really get good at gauging distance and speed. Moving over to the rotating turret, this will be the little boy, the fat man, and the mammoth. Again, it has an ammo capacity, 12 pieces. Same thing as the Avenger, but it takes a little bit more energy. The nice thing about cannons is they have a lot of structure. They're a lot harder to shoot off than the rest of the guns are, but at the same time, they drain a lot of energy, so you can't use as many weapons on your vehicle. It makes sense. Look at the size of the thing compared to a machine gun. From there, we have the missiles. Crickets and wasps. These are direct fire missiles. They shoot in a straight line and they're inaccurate, but they're powerful. They hit hard. Additionally, they have an ammo capacity. Melee weapons. These are active melee weapons as opposed to the parts here, which are basically just ramming implements. You hold people up against the wall with these and it does continual damage. Turrets, drones, automated weaponry. What I don't have... Okay, I'll go into it. Nobody likes turrets, nobody likes drones, unless they're using them. These things are just royal pain in the butts, and that's why they were nerfed so hard recently. People would go through and just have an entire swarm of turrets and drones, and wreck an entire team. You fire it and you forget it. The wheeled drone follows you around, the turret sits there and shoots people. What I don't have is homing missiles, but that's kind of self-explanatory. Moving on, we're going to go to the engines. We have really 2-3 different kinds of engines. The Cheetah here is the one that I like to use. It adds to your tonnage, your mass limit. It improves your speed and the power so you can have more wheels without slowing the acceleration of your vehicle down. They do require an energy point, but it's not as bad as it used to be. I think this one used to take 2. Engines were improved dramatically in a kind of a recent patch. But if we go back to like the Razorback, this is more for creating a much larger vehicle. It adds an extra 2,000 kilograms to your mass limit. Not so much on the speed, but it gives you a bunch of extra power so you can put more wheels on your vehicle to carry more weight. Sorry. Generators. Generators add to the energy points of your vehicle. So, whereas this cab only has 7, if you add a generator, this is a gas generator, it adds 3. There's a generator all the way from 1 to 4. The Apollo is a legendary part, will give you 4 energy points, which gives you a lot more flexibility in how to build your vehicle. This means more guns. It's great. The problem is, it explodes, so you gotta keep it hidden. And if it does explode, it's going to cause damage to all the parts around it. Additionally, if you don't have enough energy to sustain your guns, they're just going to stop working. Moving that out of the way, here's the Apollo I was talking about. Expanded ammo pack, things for things like the cannon, or drone. Well, no, this doesn't work on drones. Cannons and rockets. Gives you more ammo capacity. This is a purple part and gives you 90% extra ammo, which I have found is plenty. I do not want to activate the temporary part, no. Charged radiator. This makes it so that your guns take longer to overheat. They can fire sustained bursts longer. Things like the autocannon, not so good. Because you're going to have such a strong dispersion of your shots that you're going to miss. Things like the equalizer, it's great because it gets a bonus to damage the longer that it revs up and fires. This keeps it firing for longer, which means you do more damage. I also like it for shotguns. The cooler, when your weapon does overheat, this makes it cool down faster so it can get back in the game. For most weapons, it would be better to have a cooler, or a combination of a cooler and a radiator. It doesn't affect things that have ammo at all, like cannons or rockets. Radars are necessary now. They weren't a while back. You could see people on your mini-map from a greater distance, but the cab's radar, the one that comes with the cab, was diminished into a tiny little circle, so now you just don't light up anybody on the mini-map. So you gotta throw one of these guys on here. They don't take any power. There is a radar detector, which can detect people behind cover, which requires power. But it also acts as a radio, which we'll go over next. The radios, put them on your build, please. If you don't put this on the build, people can't see what you see on the mini-map. If you have it, you can receive that information and you can send it. It's necessary. It just helps the entire team if everybody has a radio. And it doesn't take anything. It's a small little 1x4 box. Then you have chameleon mods. These take a power point and are huge, but they allow your vehicle to go invisible for a short period of time, 6 to 10 seconds depending on which mod you have. Boosters, for smaller vehicles only, really. These allow you a greater amount of acceleration for a short amount of time. The scope for long-range weapons like the autocannons and cannons, derp, allows you to zoom in, see further down the map, and more accurately shoot long-distance targets. Carjack. Best practice is to build a build that does not need a carjack. A carjack takes a PowerPoint and takes up space. It allows you to flip your vehicle right back over if you do accidentally flip over, but it's better to build a vehicle that is less likely to flip over than to use one of these. And I'll show you how to do that. Fuel barrels, fuel tanks. These are money makers. You put these on the bottom of your vehicle, they add power score, so you get into tougher matches, and they explode. But if you win, and they stay alive, you get fuel, which you can then turn into cash. You can just sell it directly, or use it in raids and get copper. Completely up to you. And let's see. Decorations. I'll just cover these really briefly here. These, you put them on your vehicle, they look nice, and they give you an extra, an experience bonus. You gain more reputation for each of these modules that you have on your vehicle. Again, they add to your power score and get you into ever so slightly tougher fights, and they take up a part limit. But if you have a smaller vehicle, it's worth it to get the extra reputation per each fight. I'm going to check the time real quick and see how long we're going. Yep, it's time to cut this one short, and I will actually start building in the next video. We'll do a very simple build. I say simple, it's not going to end up being simple. I know myself. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a good one.